It's been a very swift day in Europe so far, and we'll see if that continues now. Me and Anatoly will be bringing you Paradigm versus Cyclone today. Cyclone got off to a good start against Fantastique, but the same can be said for Paradigm, who took a game of Panthera.
I would say that Paradigm definitely deserved their split against Panthera, whereas CycloneGG, they really struggled, I would say, in theirs against Fantastique. So different style, I would say.
Yeah, well, we'll see exactly how these two teams play out, because Paradigm expected to win between these two overall, considering how well they've been playing so far, and the consistency. And Cyclone just entering the Pro League now, have to deal with a lot of things going forward in terms of getting adjusted to all the teams they've got to face off against at this pro level.
Just more experience on the side of Paradigm, still trying to make a name for themselves as CycloneGG. Heading into the second game of the first week, we could see interesting strategies compared to their last sets.
We'll see what they do, because it's still early day to really discuss their picks and bans overall. However, what we will do is just quickly mention we do have a chest on sale right now, specifically for the Louisiana flood relief at the moment. American Red Cross are putting that for every roll of the Independence chest between now and August 29th. We will donate $2 to the American Red Cross, so make sure you get those in time before that chest runs out and give those donations away. But anyway, on to today's game, Toly. Let's get into picks and bans and start things up. Paradigm will be first pick and first ban here.
And compared to their last set, they really like to lean on their kind of support style, their aggression initiation. We see Trixtank doing wonders all the time, and the later the game goes, I feel like Paradigm, they're not deterred whenever they're even behind. Against Panthera specifically, they held that game to 55 minutes.
3 Phoenixes down for multiple times as well. It's not an easy feat to actually have to deal with, so it shows the strength of depth of Paradigm's playstyle and their ability to adapt to situations. Susano taken off the table by them though already. They do not want to pick that for themselves. We did see them play Kuang yesterday when it was left open.
It's good to have multiple jungle picks for QvoFred specifically. You want to have a different style, whether or not you go an aggressive mid laner or a more passive one. So you hold off to your jungle picks to wait that out.
Well, the one thing Paradigm do like to run is definitely the mage, the hyper carry mages in terms of Chronos and Freya in the Hunter role or even in the mid role as well. So keep that one at the back of your mind. But with Fafnir, Nemesis, Hoyi and Susano banned out, Kuang is available, and that's where they're going to go.
Going to go for that burst damage. Surprisingly enough that they prioritized Kuang over the Bacchus for Trixtank is left open, meaning that now CycloneGG, they should be able to take this away, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Paradigm to find the initiation that they're comfortable with.
Good point. There's the Erlang Shen for CycloneGG. Can support, can solo lane, can jungle. Not seeing the support just yet, but Vulcan in the mid lane, take that one away from Lawbster. Very wise to do that. We saw Lawbster play yesterday to great effect.
Once a Vulcan gets to the mid to late game, paired up with the Kuang, one meatball can set up so much damage for that execute threshold. I like the counter pick, taking it away from Lawbster.
The rookie roster here of Cyclone really going to show their stuff today, and at least for the best of their ability. Callus, the only member of this squad that's played before and actually played for Paradigm, so he should have understanding of the Paradigm mechanics, what they're looking to do, what they're looking to feed off. But at the same time, Paradigm, they know Callus.
Maybe have some strategies in his book that he snuck from Paradigm during his time there, and wouldn't be surprised to see a different style from CycloneGG. Surprisingly enough, Bacchus is still open, but Paradigm electing to go for the Neith and the Ravana.
It's very true. I mean, Callus does like the Ares, but he will take the Bacchus away from Trixtank. Very wise to do so. And it's very safe picks overall from Paradigm, I want to say. Ravana and Neith, you know, Ravana dominant in the solo lane, Neith can flex to mid or the duo lane and just farm very safely throughout the game.
Paired up with the Kuang, the Neith World Weaver will allow the execute to become that much more enticing, especially if you're going to be ganking a solo laner. Sometimes you don't necessarily expect that kind of an early gank, and that could be a strategy that Paradigm will execute.
Well, I mentioned the Ares there, and Bacchus being locked for Cyclone. They don't want to give that over to Trixtank. And in response, Paradigm bans out a Wheelix to make sure there's no ultimates that are going to come in from the jungle to combine with Vulcan and Bacchus and the trio in mid.
The double knockup would be crazy synergy with the Willers, so Paradigm recognizing that, instantly taking that away, as well as the Odin ban, making it very comfortable to pick perhaps an Isis or Ra in the mid lane.
Good point. We'll see what they end up picking. I mean, Ra was picked up yesterday by Hungry for More. We're not seeing it today so far. Rama locked in for CycloneGG, though. Nice safe Hunter in that position. Hyper carry status for him as well. Starting to see a lot more action this season.
With the Rom pick, we've seen Snoopy play it in the mid lane. They did struggle a lot early game, but once it got to that late game, he did find that pentakill, was able to secure the game for him and the rest of the Sword Boys. But in the early game, it's going to be dependent on Paradigm. Both Funballer and Trixtank, they really like to play aggressive, and that could be taken advantage of.
And that Chronos locking could still be a flex here. We've seen Funballer and both Lawbster run it as well, and Neith the same way, so we really can't call where it's going to go. Maybe the support will tell us something about what the idea will be here.
The Chronos still waiting on their last pick out of Paradigm. It's going to be the Guan, so that's going to be in the support lane. With the Guan, I would assume they're going to look for the Chronos. Okay. Specifically, you pair up the wave, you get an easy time rift constantly, the very short cooldown as opposed to the Neith Spirit Arrow, so you can also poke out in between wave. You can use the sustain of the Guan just to have more lane advantage.
And then Neith in the mid lane could be a potential there with Lawbster to be able to use those Wlfys to any side of the map from a decent location. CycloneGG though, back to them again. They technically have Erlang Shen, so they could run him in the jungle, but they may be looking elsewhere.
It's going to be the Ymir locked in. Okay. With the Bacchus and the Ymir, the team fights for CycloneGG here are pretty solid. The Erlang Shen can provide that long-range route, could set up Bacchus or Ymir for a very easy initiation. I'm really liking Cyclone's comp as long as they can survive the early game.
I mean, Deathwalker did run that Ymir in the solo lane yesterday, and it looks like he's going to go back to it again. He actually forced Moga into running the Guardians as well over there after he's starting off with the Sun Wukong this time round.
You always have to respect the wall, the presence that can provide for your team. Now, in this situation against the Guan specifically, you can also force out an early rewind out of Funballer in these team fights.
Well, early on, you can see the start coming out from the junglers here. They started blue and red, blue into speed buff Cyclone. Paradigm went from speed into blue. So they're looking to get iceicebabyy on this Erlang Shen to mid lane a little bit quicker.
He wants to be paired up with this Vulcan, making sure that they control both mid harpies. Beautiful body blocking by Wlfy, making sure that his turret just stays alive a little longer.
And a lot of people respect Wlfy because he's been around the scene for a long time. Maybe not in the pro scene in terms of the SPL, but he has got a lot of experience in the mid lane there, and it actually showed because he slowed down Lawbster's push quite a bit.
We didn't see this on camera, but Deathwalker rotated for the right side mid harpies to be able to teleport back to the solo lane, not missing out on any experience. This is something that usually Xaliea does in his strategies.
And actually looking at this here, you can see the zone where they came out from iceicebabyy there to allow Wlfy to take at least one of those creeps. I'm not sure about the second one. It looked kind of even. I didn't see the experience go up for Lawbster there, but he may still have done.
And now Deathwalker is level 3 against Xalia's level 2, able to poke him out quite heavily as a result of that early rotation. Look at this, just solo,
Xaliea.
Could be first blood, gonna get slowed a little bit.
Got to be careful against the Ymir early game. He does deal a lot of damage, very similar to a Kuang in a lot of ways in that laning phase.
Just has to be so careful. And now Trixtank playing so aggressive, they're able to outpush the dueling between this Chronos and Guan. Was looking for the rotation on the back left, Harpies hasn't respawned quite yet, so Funballer gonna soak up some solo experience, gonna hit level 5 first.
And now Trixtank's coming in at level 3 for the timing to soak up those archers as well, and actually pressure one more time Cyclone back a little bit, as there is 3 archers, but aggression comes out from Callus. A lot of poke onto Trixtank, still has meditation left though, and the bait works out for the time being there. He did have to use it though.
The problem was he was still absorbing some damage from those archers. Just have to respect that before you aggress, you have to clear those archers. It was a great job, however, on the side of Cyclone, just poking him out.
Just continue to farm up here. Vamp Shroud start here for Funballer as well. No boost in toe, but he just stun out to Callus there, and Callus going to take a bit of free poke thanks to the Tallow Assault, swinging through from Trix.
Great stun from Funballer, preventing the immediate belly flop after the belch stun. So just good use of mechanics from both sides.
I'll check in with solo lane one more time. You can see health pot advantage for Deathwalker here on the right-hand side. Just by 1 potion at the moment, and that wall's going to slow Xaliea for a second. Freeze connects. Glacial Strike avoided very nicely with the overhead kick.
The travel time between the stun duration of the level 1 stun from Ymir and the travel time from the carpet. But look at this on the side. iceicebabyy, he wants to gank Xaliea.
They know overhead kick is down, so Xaliea using his ult very early. Very wise of him to do that, knowing the rotation could have been coming in there and he would have been pressured immediately.
And after this, iceicebabyy, he could just loop around. He could pretend that he's gone away from the solo lane, come back for an additional gank. Xaliea is baiting now that QvoFred is around the corner.
But they're not going to get fall for this one. iceicebabyy lazy backing, going to get punished for that one for a second or two. With the next wave coming, I don't think we'll see iceicebabyy go back to base right this second, especially with Kuvo being here as well.
This 2v2 definitely favors CycloneGG. There is no ultimate on the side of Xaliea, and the burst damage between these two gods on Cyclone should be able to take him out.
And just keep an eye on how this game plays out. I like CycloneGG's comp though, because sometimes when you run these Ymirs in the solo and the Erlang Shen in the jungle, you're looking for where the engage is going to come from. But with that Bacchus, they really have it.
But Paradigm, they're looking so aggressive. The rotation from Trixtank onto the speed buff side, he really wants to control this mid lane wave, push it out, and allow for an easy speed buff invade.
But look at the left-hand side, the invade from Cyclone. Very wise looking at the red buff to steal this one away. But Funballer gave the shout out to Trixtank, and Trixtank trying to close the gap here. The stun goes through the Wlfy too. He needs one more hit to secure this kill, but the body blocks, look how much VoteNBK slowing him down, and at the moment, Callis is going to live.
He just needs one hit, but he's not in range. Oh, he uses the meditation as he turns around, still surviving, still doing a great job. Meanwhile, Lawbster barely able to backflip away from Wlfy's meatball. The speed buff being contested.
Big shout by VoteNBK there to keep his support alive, but they do lose the speed on the right-hand side here, Cyclone. Deathwalker's back, a fantastic wall. Going to free Xaliea into an awkward spot, but the overhead kick will stop this stun.
Great overhead kick. Now it's going to be able to just to casually walk away. Overall, a small but marginal win from Paradigm. Able to just force out Callis away on the left, defend their own red, and steal the speed from Cyclone at the same time.
Interesting, but this is going to have gone so wrong for Cyclone as well on that left-hand side invade. If it wasn't for the body blocks, we don't get to talk about them too much, totally, but that was a real impactful play there.
And Trixtank, he wanted to get there as soon as possible, using the cavalry charge just for the movement speed bonus. Not able to get there quite in time. Just getting away was Callis.
Well, invasion one more time from Cyclone, the speed buff this time. Erlang Shen looking at that. iceicebabyy though sees the Kuang and he's going to get poked pretty heavy. Turn his attention back on it because he knows he's got Bacchus coming in. And so Kuvo will reset for now. He's got Neith back in mid lane though, so pressure relieved for now on this side of Paradigm.
Looks like Cyclone, they're just more contempt about invading and just applying a little bit of pressure. They don't want to commit too hard with the Neith global. You always have to watch out for that. Trixtank has been making some really good early game rotations, so you have to respect just the sustain that he brings in these early game team fights as well.
You mentioned, you know, those global presence from Neith there in the mid lane, where she's got Transcendence online now and starting to stack up, so those World Weavers will start doing more and more. And this is what you want to kind of see here. Pressure onto a Ymir. QvoFred with an Kuang will be able to support, and even the World Weaver comes through. And that's what can happen sometimes when you're a Guardian and your mobility is limited.
You have to be so careful as a Ymir. You're very immobile. You could easily get dove under the tier 1 tower. You have to be more willing to use that ultimate as soon as you're getting committed on, because if you're going to die, at least you're going to be able to return a lot of damage in return.
Well, I see Guan Yu, and I see obviously on the side of Guan Yu we've got Neith as well, and QvoFred and the Kuang. A lot of sustain on this composition here, Tully. Are you expecting to see curses or pestilences coming out here?
Well, with Bacchus, that's going to provide a little bit of anti-healing. There could be a Divine Ruin on the Vulcan heading towards the lake. I mean, it is going to hurt his damage, but if you're looking to burst down the Guan Yu right off the bat, it wouldn't be a bad idea to go for a second curse.
Well, Goldie is approaching about 1,000 in favor of Paradigm here at the moment. Only the Gold Fury stands, no other camps really available in the jungle for anyone to take. And talking about the Gold Fury, that's where Cyclone are heading to.
With a 900 gold lead, Paradigm, they're not really worried about the Gold Fury threat from Cyclone. They just want to get a quick pick, but Funballer and Trixtank, they spot this around the corner.
If you notice that Funballer could see around the corner, but they couldn't actually see where he was, so they knew they weren't doing it. Now Callis under pressure here, going to get some support from his team, and immediately when the damage comes out, QvoFred disengages with the illusion.
So quick to do that 180 water illusion away from the meatball and the javelin toss from iceicebabyy. Great mechanics from Kuvo.
Well, that first blood over on the right-hand side has allowed Xaliea to get a bit more dominant in this lane all of a sudden, starting to put some poke pressure down on Deathwalker, but still, you've got to respect the damage Ymir has because of the passive.
The Frostbite just does so much damage, as well as receiving 10% damage less upon applying that passive. Now Wlfy in a little bit of trouble. QvoFred gonna get negated with that turret.
Though, the team turns up in time. That turret did come into play there very convincingly, otherwise it could have been spelled death for Wlfy, especially after just using that backfire. His only real escape.
And he does have a Sanctuary, doesn't have the Purification to deal with QvoFred, so he's gonna have to time that very accordingly. Not going to be able to really get away if it's mistimed.
Well, no invading the speed buff this time around from Paradigm. They weren't in position to be able to put pressure on, but the tier 1 tower on the right-hand side has been chunked to around 50% here, and with the speed buff down, they're turning their attention to potentially the blue buff here.
QvoFred waiting for some rotations. Trixtank electing to go middle instead. They're more contempt about letting iceicebabyy finish this off and then go for a kill.
There's the World Weaver coming through, stunning at the right time, forcing Purification. The ultimate was just a little bit too early. Purification was still available, but they still pick up the kill.
Doesn't matter because Trixtank comes from the mid lane. He's just been all over the place. Ever since the beginning of the game, he was looking for a speed buff invade around the 3.5-minute mark. Instead, went back to the red buff, and now yet again, upon the second respawns, here he is again.
Can we see wards placed at the moment? I just want to see how this is going so far. I mean, Cyclone are placing enough wards on the map, I want to say, at this stage of the game, but they're still managing to get picked off. Now, VoteNBK taking a trade with Funballer here, going aggressive, looking to steal away the balls. Got chunked a little bit, but he'll be okay to limp back to his lane.
I would say Funballer with an advantage up until NBK gets some more sustain, whether it's going to be the Devil Gloves or an Aussie. Looking for the iceicebabyy early on instead, though.
Yeah, looking for the extra damage spike from the iceicebabyy more than anything else. The attack speed definitely plays into a Rama's kit, especially auto-attack focus like Rama is.
You want to be able to get off as many astral arrows as possible, maybe hit multiple targets during team fights, get somebody low enough, and then use that ultimate to allow the rest of your team to commit to that kill.
Well, Trixtank this game going for magical defense after his boot. Would you went for Warrior Tabby here? Went for the damage and penetration option, which is something you do see, sorry, not penetration, just damage option. You don't see too often, but the magical defense, he's really worried mainly about Vulcan, Bacchus, and Ymir here. He doesn't care about the damage dealers from the physical side.
This serves for two options. Number one, he's going to survive against initial burst from Vulcan Bacchus, and number two, if he dives the Vulcan, that's going to be his goal, just to absorb all that damage. He's going to expect maybe a short ultimate from Vulcan.
Lawbster level 11 in the mid lane there, about to hit level 12, so we'll have a relic online very, very soon for himself. Still not been back to base recently, I'd say, but he has got that Transcendence finish now, completely stacked.
It's good power spike, especially paired up with the Kuang like we mentioned. You have to do as much damage to get somebody in that execute threshold. With Trixtank's rotations and Lawbster's global presence, QvoFred already with 2 kills.
Very patient game from Paradigm. They've just picked their opportunities wisely and actually collapsed on the right targets every single time to just get this lead.
And they're not overextending as well. They find the kills, they find the buffs that they need, they reset slowly and surely, and it's only about almost 1,000 goalie coming up at the 10-minute mark, which isn't too much, but more importantly, it's the experience, I would say.
2,500, but Trixtank bite off a little bit here. He has got support from Lawbster around the corner, and in the end, it's Callus forced out, and Trix is going to give chase. Round the corner of the Wlfy following up. One more hit will be enough, and Trixtank gets every single hit of the iceicebabyy, now under pressure too.
He doesn't have his escape. He's going to take so much damage, and he goes up in the sky. Kuva with his 3rd kill. Gold Fury going to be started by Paradigms. The sustain from Trixtank should keep them up.
Can Wlfy do anything though? He is on Vulcan, and he does have his ultimate available to potentially steal this one away if he can time it, but zone work from Xaliea is already here. The Gold Fury goes away for Paradigm for free at 10 minutes in. What a great start. This is looking very similar to the Panthera set we just saw, Tolly.
Like we mentioned before, Paradigm's set against Panthera was more convincing of a split that they earned versus CycloneGG against Fantastic with the split that they sort of got.
I mean, it's a rough situation for both Fantastic and Cyclone here, walking into much difficult opposition after this first game of the split against each other, and now they're starting to experience what it's like to be in the Pro League against some of the best teams in Europe.
As the weeks progress, the metas will progress, and then we'll know more information about how these players have adapted to the new meta and to facing different opponents, because with different opponents you'll have different gods, compositions, and playstyles. You have to be a wide variety of strategies every single game you're going in.
And that's kind of what the first week starts as, Tully. You use what you ran in the Challenger Cup scene that worked for you as a team and a composition, like the Ymirs in solo lane, you know, but then maybe it doesn't end up working out and you have to adjust based off what you're dealing with and who's getting focused.
CycloneGG trying to go on Trixtank, but with the rotation from QvoFred, doing a great job juking away from iceicebabyy, 3 levels ahead of him.
Can't really choose a target there, Cyclone, but what their real target was the left-hand Harpies, which they did manage to pick up. So it's back to mid lane for all 3 of each team here just to continue farming up.
So much poke damage from QvoFred, already level 12, gonna get returned by Wlfy's meatball, just going to be able to sustain that back up as Trixtank. And CycloneGG, they were looking for a pick onto Trixtank, but they weren't able to really connect, and they're going to need to find these kills if they want to get it back into the game.
It's just very methodical from Paradigm, not really out of position at any stretch. I mean, the closest to out of position was probably Trixtank once or twice, but he's quite comfortable on Guan. He did it against Panthera yesterday. It's the same sort of style.
Especially with his sustain on top of the meditation. He wants to be the primary focus against CycloneGG. Just allow these hyper carry burst gods such as the Neith, the Chronos, and the Kuang to rotate and clean up anyway.
And you mentioned Kuang there. Well, he's nearly got Polynomicon online as well. Already completed Bancrofts and Boots, so the power spike's definitely going to shift one more time. Kuvo already 3 kills to his name here. His opponent in the jungle, though, iceicebabyy this game on the Erlang Shen, went for the Unseal. I actually think that's a really good pickup considering he's got so much magical to deal with here.
And also picking up Mark of the Vanguard, trying to get a little bit more tankiness. QvoFred going to find more poke onto Wlfy, going to barely juke away from that jump, and Callus, he might get dove here.
Well, they're thinking about it, but the meditate was forced on the side of Cyclone there, so a couple of minions into the tower happen, and that means a little bit more gold denied in favor of Paradigm.
Great discipline, not committing to the cavalry charge or the World Weaver for Paradigm, electing to force Callus to back. If they wanted to, they could still apply some pressure in the mid lane. There's still 3 members from Paradigm.
And that's the funny thing, I mean, they could have pressured mid and found a kill, but what they got off that? They wouldn't have got a tower, there was nothing up in the jungle, so why not just hold those abilities and wait until something's available on the map to actually capitalize on based off the kill?
And it's still a small win, because now meditation isn't available on Kalos. You still have it on Trixtank. They could group up around the jungle side. Speed and Blue are about to respawn in about 45 seconds to a minute, and Paradigm, they still want to play aggressive.
I mean, they love this side of the map quite clearly, Paradigm. They're just hanging around here consistently. Speed will spawn first, but Cyclone are ready this time. They're going to go aggressive on Cuvo. Good route coming out, but instantly the World Weaver onto Kalos is going to slow Kalos down. He's not got the belly flop anymore, and the kill goes through. Lawbster credit, but in the sky is Cuvo, and Ice is in trouble.
He's going to fall back down. Lawbster with a second kill onto iceicebabyy, and now the mid tower from CycloneGG will instantly be pressured. Meditation on Trixtank still available.
Especially with Funballer pressure on the left-hand side. There's no rotation available for VoteNBK. 4 members with it, Meditate, and the Conviction coming out. And Lawbster clearing the way, first of all. Very important to do that to make sure the minions will focus this tower with him. They bring down the tower. Less than 14 minutes in, Paradigm extend their golden experience lead.
And Deathwalker, instead of rotating to middle, recognizing he couldn't really defend in a 2v4 situation, elected to do the speed buff away from iceicebabyy just to make sure that Paradigm weren't going to be able to steal it immediately after that tier 1 tower.
Now, we saw the first 2 sets today as well, Toli, and when we were talking off air, we were saying it looks like there's starting to already be a clear divide between top 4 and bottom 4 in EU, because Paradigm, hungry for more, Panthera, definitely the clear 3 at the moment, really showing up so far.
It's just a matter of how committed are you to practicing, how committed are you to developing new strategies, and how much synergy do you have with yourself and the rest of your teammates. And Paradigm, they've been together for so long.
Bit risky from Funballer here, taking him on in a full minion wave as well. Those archers are going to wreck him quite a lot. And it evens out overall, though. Funballer quite happy overall with how it went.
Still has the rewind available, so doesn't really care about taking these 1v1 trades. Trixtank coming around the corner could still top Funballer off. He wants to try to go for these 1v1 trades. Mid tower's already gone, so the next objective is going to be this left lane. Wlfy is about to respawn.
Yeah, that's true. The Wlfy very important at this stage of the game for here. It could actually break the back of the game in favor of Paradigm here if they do get this one, but you can see the World Weaver being channeled and fighting to the right-hand side. They want Ymir one more time, and the pressure is on once again to Deathwalker, who will fall down once more.
He still hasn't used his ultimate during these ganks. Meanwhile, NBK finding Trixtank around the jungle, finally getting caught off guard. That's really unfortunate for Paradigm, because now Wlfy are going to get started.
And as I was saying, this is such an important Wlfy this time around for Cyclone to have a way back in. They've picked up 1 kill. Funballer is here, but teleporting from Xaliea to support as well, trying to slow them down a little bit. Bite off a bit more than he wants to, though, and he's not going to get a chance to rewind now. The burst was heavier than they wanted. Cyclone get their second kill, but Xaliea is looking to answer back, and guess who's round the back?
He has iceicebabyy in the back. His QvoFred doing so much damage, forcing out the Sanctuary from Wlfy. Still has his ultimate available if he wants to commit.
Still committing in Xaliea and QvoFred, looking for 1 more kill here on VoteNBK. They rely on Lawbster, and Black flips to victory, picks up the kill, turns it around, and Paradigm, well, the answer back to that kill on Trixtank.
And we talked about Trixtank. He wants to be that bait because he trusts in his teammates to be able to clean up, immediately finding 3 kills in the dual lane jungle, immediately capitalizing with the Wlfy. Kalos, however, going to get zoned out by Xaliea instead.
Good work from Xaliea here just to pin him down and slow him. And if Kalos tries to go in, he's guaranteed dead before he even really reaches there. So in the end, he's going to walk away, but he needs a flop soon, and he's got it just in time. No ult for Xaliea, so he'll turn around and leave. But meanwhile, the Wlfy, well, there was a bit of a contest going on by Deathwalker, who respawned, forcing the reset, but now he's going to fall down as well.
But he's doing a great job, basically buying time. Perfect triple freeze. Still going to fall, but that allows everyone else on his team to respawn and still delay this Wlfy.
He's still staggered, though. That's the only problem. If iceicebabyy goes in, they're going to be like lemmings at the moment if he comes in too. Wlfy being looked at again. iceicebabyy on the way, looking for a pin round the corner. Not going to get there in time, though. Wlfy to Paradigm. Gold lead continues to extend.
They're going to extend it to about 6,000, coming up at the 17-minute mark. And now, this is going to be really scary for Cyclone, because the teamfight presence from the sustain of the Guan, the burst from QvoFred having the blink, he wants to be able to get on the backline and to shut down Wlfy. That's their only damage.
And here's the thing, I mean, kills aren't worth that much in the game of Smite in terms of gold these days, but they're getting 1,000 experience per kill at the moment. That's what they're averaging Paradigm. 1,000 experience per kill shows that every kill is meaning something for them.
And more importantly, the experience gap is on the jungler side of things. QvoFred with a 4-level lead onto iceicebabyy on the Kuang. This is like what Paradigm really want to do. Yep. This is how they snowball off of their own aggression.
And you mentioned, you know, the QvoFred Kuang there. That last Wlfy fight, he sat in the backline and waited for people to run away, hoping to just clean up the kills. And in the end, he didn't have anyone low enough, but him and Xaliea still combined and managed to secure follow that for the team.
And that's the experience of such a dedicated jungler of QvoFred. He knows when he has to play aggressive and when he has to take the more sneaky route. You can't always play the same style in any role specifically, so great different strategies.
Well, left-hand Harpy's going to go the way of Lawbster here, level 17. 2-level lead over Wlfy and the Vulcan in the mid lane. Wlfy, though, working on the Book of Tough, and you saw the cameraman highlight a little bit earlier on, the Odysseus bow, and he's also a Brawler's Beat stick online there as well.
You could proc the Odysseus bow off of the Vulcan turret, try to whittle that down as quickly as possible, because late game, Wlfy's turrets are going to hurt.
Well, Paradigm, they did this against Panthera too, looking for a cheeky fire giant. Deathwalker's here, but they're not stopping just yet. Now they do, once he finally reaches and gets in vision.
Paradigm, they just want to force CycloneGG to this side of the map. Funballer, he's more content about going in the left lane, still going to farm it up. He's level 16 currently. He wants to get to late game form. He has a lot of mobility with that wing blade, and he also went Book of Thoth. Yeah, Book of Thoth for him, just going to make even more of his power spike. That wing blade, though, going to be very useful against so many slows on the side of Cyclone this game that he will be able to give him the mobility to either chase or disengage. Just also having the extra health that he needs to maybe get off the rewind. If he can survive maybe 1 or 2 cooldowns, get that rewind off, that's going to turn the team fight around completely for Paradigm. And now Paradigm, they're not worried about a Fire Giant sneak out of Cyclone, so they're going to commit onto this dueling.
And that's why you see Lawbster coming around, because him and Funballer alone can just take down the tower. If anybody comes in the jungle, Trixtank will cut them off. And if they get past Trixtank, well, they've got the other man of QvoFred to deal with. But guess who's dealing with him first of all? It's VoteNBK. Sanctuary is the ultimate, though, and he will live to fight another day. Not for long, though. Spirit Arrow comes through, saves the day. World Weaver, I should say.
Cavalry charge going to stun on Callus yet again. Second kill for Paradigm after getting this tier 1 tower. They should be able to sustain with Trixtank. They're going to get this tier 2 pretty for free. Deathwalker on the right-hand side. They're electing to just farm it up.
Well, he was 3 levels down on Xaliea there. He's managed to close the gap to 2 because of this, but they do lose the tier 2 tower. Forced back to base is Deathwalker on the Ymir now to try and support as they're sieging for a Phoenix already, Paradigm.
It's going to be too late, however. This Phoenix is going to go down really quickly. iceicebabyy going to fall right away. Deathwalker finding 2 with the freeze, but can't really commit.
Phoenix is going to fall there. The wall will buy him a second, but it's still not going to matter. Phoenix falls on the left-hand side, and now Paradigm can limp away to go and get tier 2 towers in the mid if they want.
So clean and methodical coming out of Paradigm.
Yeah.
They didn't want to commit to Fire Giant, even though they flirted with the idea behind it. They forced Cyclone towards the right lane, went towards left, found easy kill from behind. QvoFred yet again doing a sneaky kill, forced the relics, easy cleanup from Lawbster and Trixtank, finding the objectives.
This is the best I've seen Paradigm look since when they first brought this team together under the name Trig, because it's been a long time since I've seen them perform well at the start of a split. Normally it takes them a while to ramp up and get going, but it looks like they're just all on the same page this time around. They're a little bit further ahead, they're a little bit more focused and ready for the season.
It's the fall split. This is the split that's leading up to Worlds. It's now or never for any team in the SPL. You want to be able to show everything you got right now.
And at the same time, I mean, some of these boys have just finished completing their schoolwork, which has been keeping them busy for a long time. Trixtank especially, that's why he missed out on DreamHack, but now they've got all the time in the world to focus on Smite.
Deathwalker caught in an awkward position, but he still has 2 mates, QvoFred around the corner.
They don't care. The burst damage is just not good enough for Deathwalker to actually kill any of them, and the wall actually traps himself in, unfortunately enough, which also means his team cannot invest and help. The rest of his team forced to try and defend the tier 2 on this right-hand side now.
Lawbster feeling very ambitious, trying to find the route aggressively. QvoFred was thinking otherwise. We got to kill. Let's go just regroup. Let's get this tier 2 tower on the right-hand side. Funballer going to be able to push out the mid in the meantime.
Yeah, this is the worst issue to be in for Cyclone, because you've just entered the Pro League, you had a good start to Fantastique, but then Panthera, well, it's almost embarrassing. You can't let it happen. You can't let it get into your mind, though. You know, you have these bad games sometimes against the top teams. You just got to realize what went wrong and try and change things.
And what better way to test yourself than against the second best team, I would say, at this point in time, out of Europe against Paradigm. You're trying to figure out your identity coming into the SPL.
Well, they're caught in the jungle here. QvoFred round the back and only VoteNBK lost half his health. The use of the illusion, very wise from Qvo. Didn't have to use his ultimate at all. Waiting for one more hit on landing, and he rolls right into it. Meanwhile, in mid lane, iceicebabyy under pressure on the Erlang Shen one more time. Deathwalker back with the teleport, but Deathwalker surrounded and still being poked down. They're so tanky here, Paradigm. They don't care about tower shots.
They don't care at all. Deathwalker very low, going to force out the ultimate, but it's not enough. He's going to fall. Wlfy doing a great job trying to zone, but is it going to be enough? QvoFred finding the kill. He's going to have to go the opposite way because iceicebabyy is going to chase him down.
No cooldowns either for Kuvo, so he's going to use the purification. I think iceicebabyy thought he had cooldowns up, but he was more worried about Xaliea coming around behind. And Xaliea, with a 7-level lead over the jungler here, one hits him pretty much, left him with one hit and just goes in.
That was hot. The fadeaway kick backwards, the Neith ultimate from behind. I'm going to dunk you down. Now Paradigm dunks down the Titan, going to find the first win of the set.
Very, very clean from Paradigm. We didn't see the kill onto Trixtank in the laning phase. We set up the Gold Fury there, as we saw the gank on the right-hand side. But that was the only real kill we saw at the side of Cyclone. I would like to have seen what they actually did there.
Yeah, Paradigm was just so much in the lead at that point that they didn't really care about all committing to the same lane. They went towards the right lane. QvoFred doing a great job bullying out Wlfy, bullying out iceicebabyy, and then the rest of the members, the objective pushers, it was the Neith and the Chronos that found the mid Phoenix and the Titan.
I personally said Cyclone's come there, didn't look too bad at all. I like the decision-making overall with where they put the gods overall. Maybe switch up Ymir from solo. I mean, even Ymir and solo didn't do anything wrong. You just got focused from Kuang.
The problem was the Kuang. The strategy coming out of Paradigm, their aggression between the early rotations out of Trixtank, the global pressure from Lawbster, allowed QvoFred to make that speed buff rotation early on, found the speed buff, and then the blue buff invade, found an early kill as well.
Early kill.